everyone, it's Angie Bryant here with Tales of a New Witch. And today I thought I would make a short little video to talk about correspondence in witchcraft. I know in the groups that I'm in on Facebook, correspondences seem to come up, I'd say, in the top 3 questions that people seem to have about spell work or rituals, or just simply, they came into a bunch of lavender. So how do I use this in my craft? So correspondence, I think, is something that people have a lot of questions about. And I can understand that. You feel like you want to know why people use mint in witchcraft so that you can use it correctly. A couple years ago, when I first started researching witchcraft and spell work, I also wanted to know exactly, what the correspondences were of, for instance, mint. I grow mint in my garden, so how can I use that in my spell work, and what is it used for? Not like what is the traditional uses for mint in witchcraft. And that's perfectly acceptable if that's how you want to go about your craft, by a more traditional route. And you want to look up, what the popular, the accepted, the historical uses of mint are. That's a great way of going about it. And that's how I definitely started in my workings. I would look up in my books or online what is mint used for in magic. And it's very easy to find 20 different resources that can tell you what the traditional or the popular uses for mint is in magic. For instance, mint is often used in money spells. It's used for luck. It can be used for travel. It can be used for hex breaking, for cleansing, for psychic visions. All of these things fall under the mint category. So that kind of got me thinking, when researching, how are something start with one item, mint, and you have 10 things that you can possibly use it for. And so how can that be, right? If you're using mint as a cleansing herb, then how does it help you with money, right? It's just that's some of the things that I'm thinking of when, as I'm getting farther along in my craft. And I've come to the conclusions that it's when you research these herbs or colors or tools, what you are finding in this research are someone else's experiences with that herb. The writers, if it's come from a book, so the writer who wrote about the herb mint, we'll use mint as an example, their experiences with mint, how they used it, possibly their mentors or their teachers or their family's history with the herb mint and how they used it. So if your grandmother taught you that mint was used for money and it worked for her, then you're going to use mint in your money workings, right? So if that's how correspondences are passed down and are, taught, then that would tell me that, all your research on it is going to be based on the historical views of someone else using that, which is great. It worked for them. Why can't it work for you? I think it's a great place to start. And I still start that way. If I have something new that I haven't done yet, a new working or ritual that I haven't tried yet, or a new herb or tool or something, I'm going to look it up and see, what do other people do with that herb or whatever. And then I'm going to put my own spin on it. And that's one of the beautiful things about witchcraft, is it doesn't have to be structured like a religion. It's not a religion in itself. Now, you can have a religion and add witchcraft to that, but you don't have to. You don't have to be religious at all. You can just practice witchcraft as a craft. And in looking at it in terms of just a craft, it doesn't have to have these specific constructs, especially when it comes to correspondence. So it kind of boils back down to intuition and finding what works for you. So just because mint, it could be used for hundreds of people use it for money, doesn't mean that you have to only use it for money. Say, for instance, that the smell of mint makes you think about summer days. So warmth and fun and joy. That's what you think about when you smell mint, or you think of mint, or you hold mint in your hands. If you have those kinds of ideas of what mint means, summertime, joy, warmth, then that's what you can take mint and use that into those type of rituals, those type of spells. You know, if you wanted to do a spell to help when you're having down days, or, you know, the blues, or, you know, some depression episodes. So you want to create a ritual or a spell or a working that's going to help bring joy. It's going to trigger joy in you, you know, then you're going to want to use mint for that. You might not find mint under a list of correspondence that it is used in workings with happiness or joy. You know, that's not going to be listed in that book. But if that's how you feel about mint, then that's how mint is going to help you. Does that make sense? Like, that's how you're tapping into your intuition, how you feel about something. You know, your first impressions, your first thoughts. When you think about mint, the first thing that comes to your mind, that's how it's going to work for you. That's how mint will help you the most in your craft. It's not to say that you can't still use mint for money, because lots of people do. Just because that's not your first idea of mint doesn't mean it won't work for you in a money spell. All I'm saying is that you don't have to be restricted to what that book says that mint is used for. There are many, many different herbs out there that are going to have 10 different correspondence, properties. That's the word I'm looking for. Properties. So like how I said, mint is for money or luck and travel, and maybe even psychic visions, hex breaking and cleansing. You know, that's 7 things right there that are properties listed for mint. It doesn't mean that is all mint can be used for. It can also be used for however it makes you feel. You know, people see the world in ways that are unique to them. So use that uniqueness in your craft. That's what helps to make your craft more personal to you. And the more personal it is for you, is this, in my opinion, in my experience, the more personal you can make your craft, the more potent it is, the better it's going to work for you, the more you're going to get out of it. And that also brings up another idea that I had when it comes to your Book of Shadows or your grimoire. If mint, stay with the same example that we've had. If mint's only magical properties were money, luck, travel, psychic visions, hex breaking, cleansing, if that is all that mint was good for in witchcraft, what would the purpose be of you creating a Book of Shadows or a grimoire? Okay, in my opinion, creating that book of shadows is a way of you recording down what worked for you, what herbs you used in this spell, why you used them for the next generation as you pass down your book of shadows, or also for your own reference to look back on later, of course. But if mint could only be used for those 7 things we mentioned, then there would be no reason for you to make up your own book of shadows, because it is super easy to find the correspondences of the magical properties, of course, the magical properties of mint online. Google magical properties of mint. That's what's going to come up. 20 different websites that's going to list the 7 same things. No reason for you to write all this down. Google's not going away. Or if it does, it's going to be replaced by something equally similar. Same thing with the books. It's already written down in all these books. Why do you have to rewrite it in your own book of shadows if it's only ever going to be those same 7 things? So it makes sense. It definitely makes sense to me that you have these correspondences of herbs, of colors, of tools. You can research, and you should research and find out what they're traditionally were used for. And then listen to yourself, listen to your intuition, listen to your feelings, look at your memories. What sparks ideas when you think about these specific correspondences? And then that is what you can use in your craft. You take those ideas of how those things make you feel, and you put them into your craft, and then you add that to your book of shadows, and then now you've created something new, magic, personal magic that works for you, that you can then record and use again, pass down, that kind of thing. It's the same for color magic as well. It doesn't mean that you have to come up with something different than what you find in a book or on Google. You don't have to come up with something different. I'm just putting out there that you don't have to be restricted to just what was traditionally those correspondences were used for. Because they came from somewhere, right? They came from somebody using them, from it working, from them writing it down, from it getting passed down, through time. Doesn't mean that that's the only thing that those things can be used for. Making it personal to you, to your craft, is, to me, one of the best things about witchcraft. Is learning. You learn about yourself in that. I never realized that mint meant, that the plant mint, when I smelled that 5 years ago, I probably wouldn't have told you that sparks joy for me. It just wasn't something that I guess I gave much thought about, but it does. When I think about it now, the first thing I think about when I think of mint is summer, because it's growing in the summer and you brush by it and it's spicy and it's warm. That isn't listed anywhere in a magical book on correspondence. It doesn't say that mint is joyful or warm or summertime, but that I feel that way about mint. So for me, mint can be used in those type of ways as well. And that's what makes it personal to my workings. So I guess, that's, what I'm trying to get across. And I hope I didn't ramble too much and this makes more sense on the playback than it does while I'm doing it. But the point I'm trying to make is, correspondences came from somewhere. They're a great place to start, but don't feel restricted because Cunningham says that mint is used for cleansing and money and luck. That's not the end of it. That's the beginning. You find those, ideas, and then you add your own to them. And your own may be exactly that. It may be money, luck, and cleansing. That may be all that mint means to you. And that's perfectly wonderful and totally fine. But if you feel something else too, then that doesn't make it wrong. That just makes it personal for you. If you like hearing from me, please like the video, subscribe to my channel. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye for now.